You met him in Siliguri? Dandavat Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
Dandavat Maharaj.
Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Yoga Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Dandavats,
Jai.
Dandavats,
Dandavats
Prabhu.
Maharaj. Dandavats Maharaj.
Oh,
Maharaj, here is our Sripad Bhakti Chandan Vishnu Maharaj.
Maharaj, Dandavats, Dandavats. And who is this other devotee? Jadu Gopal. Jadu Gopal?
Yes,
Hare
yes,
Krishna.
Maharaj. Dandavad
Did I-
Pranam, Maharaj.
Did I meet you in California? No.
I think that,
He is
I
from
think that's
Brazil.
the first time that we meet.
Huh? We
I
met.
think it's the
This is the first time. Oh, okay. Dandavats. Muni Maharaj, Santa Maharaj,
Jai Muni Maharaj.
Rasaraj, Prabhu ki jai.
Dandavat Maharaj.
Brajagopal is also here, Maharaj. Brajagopal.
Dandavats Maharaj.
Oh,
Dandavats Maharaj. Dandavats.
Haribo. Haribo.
Dandavats.
और गणेश श्रीपाद भक्ति माधव पुरी महाराज की जय।
Hare Krishna. Jai. Vaishnava ki jai. So,
How are you feeling, Maharaj?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you all for
You feel
coming.
tired, Maharaj?
A little, just a little worried. I've been seeing these things so many times now in my life. It must be very difficult for the first time if you're experiencing this. But from the beginning, we take the spiritual life thinking we are through with politics and all that other stuff of the material existence. And then we have to be thrown into the middle of that again and again and again in pursuit of our own spiritual development. My attitude has always been to try to avoid all of that. When I joined spiritual life, I did not want to get involved in all that other political adventure. Even though when we first came from ISKCON, from Prabhupada to Sridhar Maharaj, that became an explosion, like an atomic explosion. I went to the GBC, whole body of GBC men. I went there and told I wanted to take sannyas from Sridhar Maharaj. Very naively and humbly, I went to them. I told I'd like to continue my service in ISKCON, but I want to take sannyas from Sridhar Maharaj. And they rejected that. They, the point of question, of decision, was based upon they were telling I have to accept the GBC as absolute. And I said I can't accept the GBC as absolute because you think you are absolute. Huh? You think you're absolute, then how I can accept? You're not God. Huh? You can think you're absolute, but that is not our position. And I said, I accept Sridhar Maharaj as absolute because he thinks he is relative. I told him like that. And that is the absolute position of ourselves. who has absolute conception, he thinks he is relative. He doesn't think he's absolute. And if anyone thinks they're absolute, then they're relative. If they think they're relative, then they are absolutely correct. That's all. Why do we want to think that we are absolute? Is it not our position? Saraswati Thakur, he told that there are two moieties. The absolute consists of two moieties: predominating and predominated. And the predominated are the servants of Krishna. Dandavat Soma Devi.
Umadevi.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
Dandavat.
Dandavat Pranam Maharaj.
धन्यवाद उमा दीदी.
Kadupriya Didi Haribol. Dandavat. That's to be straightened out.
Maharaj,
Oh,
Dandavat, everybody.
Dandavat. Dandavat Didi.
Dandavat Kanupriya.
Haribol. Haribol. So this first point has to be clear in us. What are we? Are we predominating or predominated? Not only are we predominated, but we are the servants of the predominated moiety. Not only are we predominated, but we are the servants of the predominated. Radharani. At least this is our philosophy. If we lose that idea, that siddhanta, then we're finished already. Already we haven't even started. So, first thing devotees have to understand, we're not the absolute. No one, however much right we may think we are, we can't say we're the absolute. Therefore, we have to listen to one another and take the advice, take the suggestions, not from anyone who thinks he's absolute, but from the humble, the real Vaishnavas, who know their humble position. And from that standpoint, they are talking with the others. Dealing with one another. Mahaprabhu's first point, to be more humble than the blade of grass. I meditated on that for a long time. Most people say that very easily. Trinadapi's and each another, so forth and so on. And they repeat it like some kind of daily discourse or whatever. What does it mean? To be more humble than the blade of grass. Now, from meditating on that, what does it mean to be more humble than the blade of grass? What does it actually mean? I found the greatest challenge that I could offer to the scientists. That with all your science, with all our science, I am also a scientist trained in science. So with all our science, all the scientists in the world together, they cannot make a blade of grass. They're incapable. That is the greatness of grass, in my opinion. From my point of view, grass is so great because we don't have the slightest idea how it is made. We have some ideas. We have no ability to duplicate that whatsoever, even at the smallest level. It's so complex. And then I began to understand what is our relationship to grass? Simple thing, growing so copiously throughout the universe, throughout the earth. Uh, we won't find it on the moon or any place, but it's here and all over the place, in the sidewalk cracks, wherever you look, you can find grass. So vigorously growing, such an amazing substance. It can produce milk when the cow chews on that. So many wonderful things. And I won't go into that scientific description of grass, but it's there. And no one knows anything about that. And yet they are making rocket ships to the moon and so forth. All kinds of materials, and they think they have solved the problem of grass. Why should they think about that? But Mahaprabhu said, you must be more humble. And then we have to think about that. What is that? Humility. He is talking about it. And who has that? Who is actually following Mahaprabhu's instruction? And that is Mahaprabhu follower. And I've seen that in Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. And some devotees and I'm thinking that when Arjuna was offended, Krishna told them, fight, kill them. Of course, he gave so many arguments why he shouldn't do that as a good soul. And Govinda Maharaj always used to remark on Jesus Christ. He said that I've never have realized how much humble he is. Jesus Christ. He's the most humble person. They were beating, criticizing, and doing so many things to him. Torturing, criminalizing. But he told, turn the other cheek. You have done enough on this side, the other cheek is available for your abuse. Then, of course, we know Haridas Thakur also. And so many, 26 marketplaces, they were beating him. Then they killed him. And he saw how unhappy they were. Oh, he is dead. We can't beat him anymore. So he woke up. No, I'm still here. And I want to finish your business. Like this. So humble. Krishnadas Babaji. I am lower than the worm in the stool. I used to think about that too. What does that mean? He's saying lower than the worm in the stool. The only thing lower than the worm in the stool is the stool itself. So what is he saying? Is it? Anyone tell? I am stool. So humility is very important. Even my understanding is that even if you are criticized, it is a great benefit. It is a great benefit. Vaishnava does not defend themselves against criticism. Of course, we must say what we understand and explain to people, but we don't try to make ourselves befitting some glorification. Krishnadas Babaji, some boys were throwing stones at him. He didn't criticize them. Well, he did in a way, but he criticized them to Mother Yashoda. He told Mother Yashoda, why are you allowing your boys to do like this to me? And the first thing I think we have to take into consideration. Humility. What is our position there? Don't be afraid of criticism. Don't reject criticism. Accept it. But explain your position so that it's clear, that others may understand properly what is what, as much as possible. And then next thing is that when this controversy with Sridhar Maharaj and ISKCON, Prabhupada arose, the devotees wrote some pamphlet. You've seen that? Affectionate Guardians. Those who came from ISKCON to Sridhar Maharaj, they wrote to explain the position as clearly as possible. Not that everyone was going to accept that. And they did. But there are those who were sincere trying to understand the situation. They accepted it. They read it and they could make their own decision based on some kind of historical truths that were not discussed by the opposition. Those who are in opposition. Now, my understanding is that we can also do that, write something to explain Santa Maharaj's relationship with the Bhatt and with Acharya Maharaj properly, and not simply take some things that people are saying out of the context of that whole historical narrative. You know, I wrote this book, Idols of the Mind versus True Reality. I put the title. And on the cover of that book, I put the elephant. You know the story of the elephant and the blind man? The problem with modern science and all kinds of misunderstanding is found right in that analogy. People look at the leg of the elephant, not knowing that it's an elephant. And they see it as something that has nothing to do with the elephant. And they think it's a tree. What has this got to do with it? The meaning is that to take things out of context, out of the whole overall context of Krishna consciousness, the Siddhanta, the conception, proper conception, Guru Maharaj used to say, Sridhar Maharaj, proper conception. If everything we do in our mind, finite way is taken as a whole, out of context. Anything that happens, we take it out of context. Then we're bound to misunderstand what that is. That's what the scientists do. They analyze things at the microscopic level and think they have understood the whole in terms of that. They build up the whole out of this part. So I heard that Santa Maharaj is criticized because Acharya Maharaj was told that in not following my directions, he is doing his own program. Of course, Santa Maharaj is godbrother of Acharya Maharaj. Different dealings between godbrothers than between disciple and guru. First of all, is there. And Acharya Maharaj is always teaching his disciples to follow guru, follow the will of guru. If he had to use that as an example to teach them, that is must always follow guru, so be it. But that does not mean that he was unhappy with Santa Maharaj for his preaching, and he was always helping Acharya Maharaj, and he knows that. And they may not know that when Shanta Maharaj was ready, by Krishna's will, to take sannyas, he wanted to take from me. And I told him that first of all, I don't accept any disciples. I don't want to be guru. And only want to be the servant of guru. And for me, I see there are many gurus. But I don't see anyone teaching how to be a servant of guru. I want to be that type of guru, that type of teacher, who teaches that we are the servants of guru. So I insisted that Maharaj, to give honor to Acharya Maharaj, you can take sannyas from him by my request. And at the time when Acharya Maharaj was facing so many opposition challenges, so many discourses, I called personally to Acharya Maharaj and told him I support him. And he was very happy because at that time no one was giving their support. And he said he would not forget that. Of course, I don't know what happened later, but anyhow, that's what we established. And I told him all along that whoever came to me, I would send them to him for initiation. I didn't want to take anyone for my own disciple. So when I hear the criticism that Shanta Maharaj took sannyas for his own benefit, even Acharya Maharaj said, I heard Acharya Maharaj said that is not correct. How can it be? This must be known. He did not take sannyas from Acharya for his own glorification. He went there at my request to honor the Acharyaship that I know Govinda Maharaj bestowed upon him. My dedication and loyalty to Govinda Maharaj is complete. I had a wonderful, loving relationship, affectionate relationship with Govinda Maharaj, always. I never took offense to whatever was said about me or against me or anything by Govinda Maharaj or anyone. That is all affection. And I always have that feeling with Maharaj. And I also had that feeling with Acharya Maharaj. Only out of affection for Govinda Maharaj and his wish, and Acharya Maharaj, and I know how much Acharya Maharaj was affectionate to Govinda Maharaj, how much service, sacrifice. He offered everything to him. That kind of love is the most substantial thing that I appreciate about Acharya Maharaj, and I reciprocated that relationship I had with Govinda Maharaj, with Acharya Maharaj also. But I don't like to get involved with all the politics, so I stay out of that. Anyhow, my feeling is that if we present some type of history of a relationship between the Institute of Shanta Maharaj and Puni Maharaj and myself also, whatever has to be included, that may make some things clear to the devotees who don't have the whole conception. I'm thinking, my humble suggestion. Krishna Kesava Prabhu said he went through the times that Shanta Maharaj was mentioned in SES International website, and he collected some articles where Maharaj was mentioned and doing some preaching with Acharya Maharaj to show the kind of relationship they had outside these other partial comments that seem degradatory, but they're just based on ignorance of what is the actual situation. At least they should have accurate information. At least that much, I think, we can offer. Although I noticed that even with Sridhara Maharaj and Prabhupada incident, and the truth did not matter much to anybody. They had already made up their minds based on anything but the truth, based on their own emotional decisions. That's the way things work in the material world, unfortunately. When it enters the spiritual domain, then it becomes a disturbance, unfortunately. But we also have to accept that. The mature stage of devotion requires the acceptance of so many things that seem inappropriate, seem to us. What is appropriate to us and what is appropriate to Krishna, that's different things. No, different things. And the highest conception, we have been told that everything is all right. Everything is all right. The highest conception. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Now, so far as the differences that are real between Santa Maharaj and the others, how to adjust that. I don't know. Maharaj feels they are not following the proper mood. And Maharaj and others of his acquaintance feel the present situation is that they are not following the mood of Chaitanya Saraswat Math, established by previous acharyas, and how to deal with that. And of course they are feeling they are following the mood. But I just wonder how much, my concern is how much of that is based upon actual knowledge of events and not upon limited events that they may be judging everything upon. In that case, we can only, again, present what we understand to be the differences. And it's up to Maharaj, it's up to you, because you seem to be leading the whole pack, the whole party, that whether you want to, what should I say, make room for their indiscretions, or you want to oppose, steadfastly oppose. That I leave to you to decide. And you know, my mood, my position is not to make too much of that. I'm thinking, it used to be in American politics, Democrat, Republicans, they would fight like hell with one another to win an election. And after the election was finished, their fight was ended. We are working for America. Our position is, I may have said so many things against this one and that one, but our ultimate concern is that America go on. It used to be like that. Today it's very different. They have become insane. But, and even among devotees, and we may fight for some particular thing. But if we see the community of devotees as a whole, of whom we are fighting for, then we may make some compromise, take some humble position, and wait until the next occasion arises, when these things can be again discussed and accepted merely as brotherly fighting with one another. That's up to you. I don't know. Some feel very strongly about their principles, and that becomes the highest thing, and then nothing else matters. But if we can see from the perspective of the whole, then I think we can make some compromise, or wait, like Govinda Maharaj used to say, wait and see. We're not the determiners of everything. I may have our convictions, but we also have our humility and wait and see. We may not like what's going on at all. But I think if we preach the conception that we have, and peacefully and with affection for the whole, and then we can go on despite whatever may be said. And even we may be put in a lower position in the vision of those others, that is not a problem. It's our benefit to keep us humble. And we should thank our lucky stars that we could keep a humble position. Acharya's position is very dangerous in that sense. And they can make so many offenses. So we don't want to do that. At the same time, we have to, if Gurudev gives us that position, we have to be brave and even take those chances that Acharya has to face. Anyhow, there's so much preaching to do, so many people who are needing some Krishna consciousness. And it's not that the field will be trimmed down or whatever. It's always like an ocean. And there's so many services to do there. So it's not that we're going to be cut off from any service. And these are my humble points of view. I don't know what else to say. But I think we should make some, my point is that we should make some effort to explain the situation as best we can. And try to, in this way, avoid or correct any misunderstandings that might be there. Hari bol, hari bol, hari bol. What do you think? Huh? Maharaj?
You are asking me, Maharaj?
I am asking you, all the devotees.
Okay.
What happened to Vishnu Maharaj?
So Vishnu Maharaj has a morning, some service, Maharaj,
Okay.
in the temple. So he has to rest, Maharaj, for the morning service. Maharaj, I want to, tell you one incident. One of the, personal assistant of Srila Acharya Maharaj, she told me that why are you preaching about all your gurus and not only Acharya Maharaj? She asked me, before Acharya Maharaj was there, Acharya Maharaj was present, and she asked me this. Then I told her that if I don't have, my relationship with previous gurus, and I don't have any relation with Acharya Maharaj, if Govinda Maharaj would not have instructed me to come to Acharya Maharaj, then I don't know Acharya Maharaj. I know Acharya Maharaj by the instruction of Govinda Maharaj. And I know Govinda Maharaj by the instruction of Sripad Puri Maharaj. And we came to Puri Maharaj by the direction of Sripad Maharaj. So how can we eliminate the previous connections? Is it possible? I asked her. Then, she was still not able to understand, but she was silent. Then Acharya Maharaj told me, you told the correct thing. He told me, you told the correct thing to her. He told me that.
You took Prabhupada initiation from Govinda Maharaj, no?
Yes, Maharaj.
You're a disciple of Govinda Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
And sannyas from Acharya Maharaj.
Yes, Maharaj.
So, then what? You're supposed to give up your connection with Govinda Maharaj.
She was telling that, why are you preaching about previous gurus? Only preach about Acharya Maharaj. She was saying like that. I told her, how it is possible like that? What is this, type of move?
Anyhow, Prabhupada directly spoke to me what my service was. To preach to that matter comes from life using science. He didn't say using the scripture, but using science. He said we have to crush their teeth with their own instruments. He spoke very strongly about these things. But okay, at least he gave me some service to do. So I felt very fortunate that I had some service for my whole life to know what to do by Prabhupada's mercy. And we came to Sridhar Maharaj. He knew very well these things. And he wrote one book, well, he spoke so many things. But one book, that was written about our conversations is the only book in which myself and any of the devotees was mentioned explicitly. Michael Marchetti has, my name is there in his subjective evolution. Sridhar Govinda Maharaj called that our Siddhanta. He called that book our Siddhanta. My name is there. And yet they want to say, I don't know. I am from ISKCON or something else, or I'm not following. He told specifically we should build a tomb on Darwin's, we should build a temple on Darwin's tomb. Sridhar Maharaj told this. If we are not following Sridhar Maharaj, who are we following? Who's the instruction? Yes, I'm following Prabhupada. Thankfully, Sridhar Maharaj and Prabhupada agreed. Otherwise, I'd be difficult in position. But he told this, Sridhar Maharaj told this, Prabhupada told this. Govinda Maharaj understood. He has such a loving soul. He understood everything. We did not speak much philosophy together, but it was not necessary. There was so much love emanating from him in his life. His whole personality was affection personified, I think. One devotee called him Madhusudan Prabhu in Hawaii. Affection personified. That was all. My relationship and others' relationship with him was one of affection. Everything else was within that, and nothing made any difference except that. So we had never had any problem in carrying out Prabhupada's order, unless it was just my satisfaction to be able to do that. And the same with Acharya Maharaj. I never felt any difficulty. Usually I accepted him as Acharya, and whoever came to me, I sent them to him. That's all. And I always felt our preaching was for the benefit of the mutt. Not that there's only devotees in the world. There are scientists there too. And somebody has to be conscious of them and preach to them. And if we have some ability to do that, then why not? That is also part of the preaching will. Anyhow, now, many devotees don't understand scientific preaching in that sense, because they don't preach to those people. They preach to all the others. There's no reason to object to that. No reason to think that is not had anything to do with Krishna consciousness or the mutt. These kind of things, I think it has to be explained. Simple things.
Maharaj,
Yes?
I mean, with respect to Srila Acharya Maharaj, sometimes few interactions were there where he really appreciated this scientific type of preaching.
Yes.
Like generally Acharya Maharaj is very busy with all these administrative and disciples and all these things. So when some program is organized, so he is 24 hours with that. But once what happened, when everything was finished and we are returning from, I think, Vijayawada to Bengal, so he personally talked with me on the platform about chemistry and mathematics, and he talked to me about 20-30 minutes on that, and he told me finally that this type of work requires a serious approach, and one must be very careful and study very nicely, and he encouraged me very much. And another time in Vrindavan also the same thing happened, because I was in my computer and I was doing some work with certain special type of mathematical functions, He came and saw what was that. And he asked me, what is that you are doing? He said, I also know mathematics, but I never done this type of mathematics. And then he asked me in several ways about that thing. And once in Jagannath Puri, he asked us, like in front of so many devotees who are now, maybe questioning our things. But he asked us, can you ask the scientists that if they can make a flower from chemicals? So, I mean, it was not that, he did not understand the importance of scientific preaching, but rather he told us these are simple people and they can't understand these type of things. So you don't speak about these things to these simple people. That's what mostly he said to us. But he never told us personally that what we were doing is not. Rather, he came to our conference also. He sent articles every conference, and Maharaj, when my sannyas was to be given, so then actually his relation with me is very sweet. Uh, like whenever he will see me, he'll feel happy, and I see him, I also feel happy. So that time, what happened? He told me just the day before my sannyas, I have thought a very good name for you. I said, Maharaj, whatever name you have chosen for me must be very good. And next day, he given me the name Bhakti Vigyan Muni. So Vigyan means science. So he considered our preaching, our services. That proves his inner heart. And the other part is he kept the name Muni. Muni also means a philosopher. In Sanskrit, it means a sage, or one who thinks about certain things very deeply. So that means he had an appreciation, and I think the many of the devotees also appreciated our work. But suddenly, because of this thing, and suddenly everything is coming up like as if kind of whirlpool, like a storm. So many facts are all jumbled up. But if things are clarified, I mean, if things are separated and clearly spelled out, then I think many of them will understand that how important is this work, that it is not just the work that we are doing, but it was assigned to us by the chain of the gurus, acharyas. And the initial seeds can be found in the work of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and then in the work of Srila Saraswati Thakur, and Prabhupada himself spelt out these things, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was the advisor of these things. So if there are so many people who are doing so much simple type of preaching, and if few are doing this type of work, then why it should not, when the acharyas are appreciating it? I mean, I don't find a single acharya who is against it. So the common people of the temple must also, I mean, pause and think about it before passing some judgment. And
Okay.
especially Shanta Maharaj has been doing scientific preaching in a very grand way, actually. Organized so many international conferences, even got funds from the India's highest philosophical society, and its chairman was so much appreciative of Shanta Maharaj. So I think there is much that can be clarified to the common man about Acharya Maharaj. I mean, common persons of the temple or the organization of the Bhakti Saraswat Math, that how much Sripad, Srila Acharya Maharaj was highly appreciative, and he understood. And he even once told that I cannot do these things in 100 lives. But about biology, he said like this. So I mean, he's shown that type of humility. So, but unfortunately, because things have happened in such a way, and sometimes they want to paint somebody like as a demon, so perhaps. But if they think a little bit deeply, then they will know the things.
Okay. Someone, please,
At least,
you help it. I'm sorry. What else?
at least some people, if not everybody.
Uh,
I know everybody cannot understand, and that is never the goal also.
so I
But
hope
those who are
you'll write.
intelligent,
I hope you'll
yes,
write something. Like you wrote that, a very nice report. What is that? Committee, nicely composed and organized for the Bengali devotees. They're very nicely put together, simple, and straightforward. And I think if you can help write something like that about the current situation, that will also be very helpful for those who are interested to know. What does the others have anything to say? Jadugopal?
I think that's a very difficult situation because we must see all of this as Krishna testing us, testing our faith or Shraddha. I think that maybe, as Maharaj said, some work, some paperwork to explain the situation, and also to take agility with the court and advocates, because we know that unfortunately some Western devotees are trying to create some problems and create another trust board. So also one thing that worried me a little bit is the official things like advocate things and court things. How we can solve this situation the most appropriated and ethical way.
Who are you a disciple of?
Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj.
Ah. What year did you become devotee, initiated?
Which year?
Huh?
Sorry, Maharaj, I didn't understand.
Oh, what? Which year?
He's clarifying if you asked what year.
Yes. Yes, what year? Sorry.
2001.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Honor to meet you. I know you.
It's my pleasure.
All right. And anyone else? Let's see. Anupriya, what is your input?
Pranams, Maharaj.
If you have any, if you like to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's lots going on there that a lot of devotees aren't aware of, and many important things that need to be dealt with. It's been really tough time, and I think it's based on the ignorance and misunderstanding and misconception, and they don't maybe necessarily really know Shanta Maharaj or Muni Maharaj. It's not really much of a relationship, and I think these misconceptions, they from what I've heard is that they're very staunch Acharya Maharaj followers, and I think they're feeling that anything other, or they're seeing anything other is not in the line, and it's very hard to then, how do you explain? I think what you're saying about maybe writing a paper about the relationship with Acharya Maharaj and his appreciation, and maybe trying to give some understanding of the mission, that the scientific mission maybe might help. But again, like you said, when some people have made their minds up, they've made their minds up, and it's a very difficult, like really, thinking about it a lot, and also like sheep, like one says one thing, and then they just we'll follow you, and then and everything, everyone jumps on the bandwagon without really even thinking, like even really deep thinking. And I think this is why it's so important. We hear Govinda Maharaj always saying about tolerance, humility, and giving honor to others. We really don't understand the meaning of this, and it's times like this, I think, where we really have to really go deeply in reflection and be patient and be gentle with each other. And some people are just really reacting, and like you said, Maharaj, with emotion. Some people are still just trying to get over the fact that Acharya Maharaj has left, and that's still very painful, but unfortunately life goes on. Things are still happening. Things there are, I'm sure, I mean, I don't know what the situation in India with certain legal things, but legal things, they things like this don't stop. Temples have to go on, and how they manage that and how that's managed, it's a big consideration. So I don't know if I've really made any contribution.
I understand.
It's very difficult, and I don't feel like really qualified to be able to give any any light. But it's my main concern, obviously, is I'm very much affection for Shanta Maharaj and Muni Maharaj and yourself, and my natural instinct is protection. Take you away from all this, madness, and really it's so painful to watch all these messages. So my heart really is just it's really been sad. So really I whatever Maharaj, Muni Maharaj and Janta Maharaj can manage and handle, we'll try and be there and to support as best we can, I think the main thing also is it's, our Gurudev's mission, Srila Maharaj's mission, and keeping that mood, like you said, keeping his mood of service. And even Acharya Maharaj would say, it's service, seva. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, if you want to be a member of the Saraswat Math, you have to be a servitor. We're servitors. And keeping this mood, so difficult. I really don't know what else to say, Maharaj.
Okay, well, sometimes not saying anything also is contributing to the problem. And so we should say something positive that contributes to the positive outcome of situations. So whatever you can do in that regard, I think that's important for your service.
Okay, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj, sure.
Okay, that's also part of service mood to say what you understand, what is positive, and that way counteract the whole negativity.
Yeah, I have when I've had a few people that called me, and I have expressed my feelings, and immediately people start to say, well, I don't want to create Vaishnava aparad, but it's very difficult when they're so. It's like you're talking when you mentioned earlier about the blind man and the elephant. It really feels like that. This not listening. It's almost like they're just panicking and not having the capacity to just digest things and really reflect a little. So it's very difficult.
Yes. Right? Positive things. Never criticize anyone in public, especially.
Yeah.
No need in that. Always fight. But write something positive. So many nice things. I see they set these little things they post about some quote from Prabhupada or from Sridhara Maharaj or anyone. Very nice and encouraging things. I think that's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And so this way, we don't sit on the sidelines. That's not very helpful.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah.
But we don't have to say anything negative. And it's very nice for you and for others also. Then, what else? Does anyone else? Oma Devi, Rasaraj Prabhu, do you have any input? You like to remain quiet. It's easier that way, I know.
One more thing I want to tell.
Okay.
Actually, some people question that why we have registered an institute, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute. So they took that complaint to Srila Acharya Maharaj.
Okay.
That they have registered an institute because we have the name Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. Why they should take that name? So Acharya Maharaj told them that actually they have taken my permission, and I have personally given them permission for this. So after this, nobody could say anything to us.
All right.
So I think this is the type of thing that is happening, that people don't have any idea about the kind of focus we have, and that's why many of them are jumping into so many conclusions. But if they can appreciate the importance of the work and how it is a bona fide work, then I mean we can write something on that.
Okay.
And we can collect these points. Maybe there will be at least, I think 50-60 points will be there. And it will be good for us, and it will be good for someone who is sincere to read that.
So Maharaj, Shanta, your situation
Yes,
is
Maharaj.
okay. Your situation is okay there.
Maharaj, actually here situation is very, as far as Bengal is concerned, where we are staying, is all devotees are so much loving to us, and they are very happy with us, and
Okay.
there is absolutely no problem, Maharaj, here. But only
Okay,
problem
good.
is some gossip on the social media, and things like that. That is the only thing. Otherwise, here no problem.
Where are you, Maharaj? Are you in Singapore still?
Yes.
Prajalpa. Prajalpa. This is a big problem. Not a problem, actually. A very dangerous thing. But it's a very, what did you want to say? Like a very superficial thing, huh? It's based on nothing. It's not nothing.
Maharaj, nobody likes, if we say
Can I ask you a
truth, nobody
question?
likes to hear truth.
What? Yes, Prajagopal Prabhu?
Nobody likes to hear the truth.
Nobody likes to hear the truth.
Yes. I kept a post in Facebook about Shanta Maharaj and what his relationship with Srila Acharya Maharaj. And everybody started sending me personal messages, blaming me, criticizing me, and they're scolding me. Why are you posting these messages now? And they're telling me, are you a liar? Who are to come here? And you became mental. All these things they are mentioning. So I just replied them everything. So I left. If you don't want to know the truth, then you just face the outcome. That's all. I felt pity for all these people who are not taking the truth. So
Gopal Maharaj with Acharya Maharaj and both of us, what we are doing, Acharya Maharaj and myself in South India, Gopal is the witness because he was there in all the programs and he knows our relationship between Acharya Maharaj and myself. So he has that. And also one of the interesting thing, Maharaj, it is Brajagopal and Venkata Krishna Prabhu from South India. When they came to, and Venkata Krishna got initiated, a Ritvik initiation from Acharya Maharaj, he received Govinda Maharaj, on behalf of Govinda Maharaj, Acharya Maharaj given Ritvik. And both came to offer Dandavat to Srila Govinda Maharaj in Damdam Park. And I have introduced them, and Brajagopal told Govinda Maharaj that we are serving Sripad Puri Maharaj for this scientific preaching. Then Srila Govinda Maharaj told, oh, Puri Maharaj service is my service. He told to, both of them were there and he told like that. So,
Shanta Maharaj, I was wondering if you could explain the circumstance of Acharya Dev telling you to initiate Ritvik on his behalf. Like, when did that happen and how did that happen?
oh, actually, we were in Vijayawada,
If you don't
and we were
mind,
preaching.
Maharaj.
Brajagopal, can you hear?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, we were in Vijayawada and we were preaching, and Brajagopal was helping very active also at that time. And all of a sudden, like so many devotees coming, like 30-40 devotees coming, and their regular program, morning, evening, we are preaching Aarti. And I took also Ramani Prabhu from Nepal, and also, another devotee, Gaurnarayan from Mexico was with me. And we were doing this program, and they all wanted to, receive initiation. And I told that Maharaj, we are preaching here, and big number of devotees, they want to take initiation. Then Maharaj immediately planned and came there with the train, and Muni Maharaj also came with him, and some other devotees, they all came, his personal servitors. And the malas that he brought was not enough actually. We have to bring the malas by again courier, and so many devotees took initiation together. Then after that, Maharaj felt that the preaching is so much expanding here in South India, so he cannot be always available in South India. Then he told Maharaj, you just chant this mala and give to the devotees who wants to take initiation. You just chant this mala and give to them, no problem. He told like that to me. Then I also talked to Sripad Puri Maharaj, because I always talk whatever things happens. I take his permission, and Puri Maharaj also told, okay, if that you can that service you can accept. Then I have accepted that service.
Actually, in South Indian, nobody knows Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math and Sridhar Maharaj or Govinda Maharaj. By your mercy only, we got Shanta Maharaj came to preaching to South India, and we came to know about this Chaitanya Saraswat Math and Sridhar Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj. Shanta Maharaj has extensively preached in South India, Andhra Pradesh, and Hyderabad, so that everyone came to know about Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math.
Well, let's hope that everything works out okay. We like to continue serving the Mat, whoever becomes the Acharya. We want to have friendly and loving relationships with them also, and that we may go on doing that as much as possible. I don't want to create a division if it can be avoided. My feeling is like that. I hope you may also feel like that. See what we can do. And everything is not in our control. And we have to accept whatever outcome there may be. And at least I'm hoping like that. Sometimes we have to understand in a family that there may be great misunderstanding within the family members, and we're all part of one family automatically. We all have one father. At least our father is the same. Mother is also one. Nature, you can say. Anyhow, point is, we're all one family. Then, in family, there should be disagreements. That is always going on. Then what to do? So sometimes family members become so angry with one another they completely divorce, apparently, from one another and have nothing to do. But in other cases, and there's a type of love which I think is the highest, that will accept others, their loved ones, even if they hate them. Even if someone hates you from your family member, you still don't hate them back. You allow room for them to hate you. There's enough room in your love for them to hate you without hating them back. You can understand that kind of broad love. Love with room for allowing others to hate you. Understanding it from a higher point of view, they're a family member and there's some kind of disagreement, and they are free to disagree. I always respected this quality in Sripad Maharaj. I may have told you before. Sripad Damodar, Bhakti Damodar Maharaj. My feeling about him was always that he allowed the maximum freedom for everyone. He never tried to infringe on anyone's freedom. He accepted them with all freedoms, all rights. attached to them. He didn't put any restriction on that. And that way he was the friend of everyone. My understanding of him, his character was like that. Uh, he generally, except for some, unfortunately for his God brothers and sisters, everyone loved him, uh, and he loved everyone. In a very simple relationship like that. He would go and preach to the big scientists, and they would become his friend just by meeting him, and he'd be their friend. And Prabhupada and his relationship was one of total love. I have not seen anyone have that type of relationship with Prabhupada except for Sri Damodar. So, such a great heart, a great soul, Mahatma, even though he had a very tiny figure, small figure. He was a great Mahatma because of that quality. His respect for the freedoms of all. Free even to hate. You have that freedom. I don't reject you because you hate me. So that kind of broad-mindedness, broad-heartedness is also helpful. And only meaning good intention for everyone.
Maharaj, that is very true about Sripad Maharaj.
Yeah.
And also Maharaj, I was thinking also about Saraswati Thakur, and he was actually sometimes also means he faced a lot of like troubles. Even so, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to send him from Jagannath Puri to Navadip, because he was trying to say something very straightforward about certain things that were there in Odisha at that time, about the Sahajaism actually. And he was so much like a fighter. He was saying about those things actually, which is not proper, and this type of thing is not going to please to Mahaprabhu. Then they were all even wanted to harm Saraswati Thakur actually in Odisha,
Yes.
especially in Puri. There are so many Sahaja, the systems had developed, and Saraswati Thakur was fighting actually.
Well, that is another thing to, one should have. I just read that one gentleman, he was saying, I don't remember his name, but that we should be very strict with ourselves and very liberal with others. We should maintain strict understanding of things for myself. But for others, we should have to give them a chance to express themselves, even if it may be wrong, and in some way try always presenting the point of view of what we consider proper. Now we don't have to change. I consider it maturity to be able to accept others, even if they don't agree with me. That's a much level of maturity I think we have to reach. Yes, we can get in a fight with so many people. That also is there. But what are we accomplishing? That we have to consider. What is it we're trying to accomplish? Now, in order to teach other people, it's just like I remember I was a Saraswati Thakur. He was in the position of Acharya. He had to speak so strongly about others, often in front of his disciples. He said, I'm speaking this way because I am in the position of Acharya. I have to teach this from my disciples. From his own perspective, he said, I would not have to say I don't say anything because of my position, his own position. He was not absolute, he understood that. But his disciples, viewpoint, he was absolute, and he had to tell them the proper thing from the improper thing. So again, it depends upon the situation. I don't take everything just blankly out of context. The principles are there, of course. We don't accept every behavior as divine. At the same time, if we're in a capacity where we have to give some leeway to others to learn by our example, sometimes by accepting others who are not behaving properly, they may come to behave properly. Just by your example. Instead of all this fighting all the time. We pray for them that they may be good. And yeah, we have to use our intelligence. It's not a matter of just following some blind law, formal law, as if it were absolute in some way. Everything depends on the situation. What can I say? I just try to give some ideas. What possible? I'm thinking of what possible outcome will happen from all this. How we should treat one another. How we should handle the situation.
Maharaj, I was thinking about that joy and vijay,
Yeah.
that thing which you had always explained, and this is also Sridhar Maharaj always emphasized that their main mistake was they're trying to identify the spiritually enlightened personalities like Kumaras with some bodily identities like Devi or like that. So, Srila Maharaj also given that type of, emphasis that we always give importance to the conception irrespective of the background of the individual. Maybe from Ramanuja line or Madhava line, does not matter. If it is, something proper, then we must honor it and respect it. And what to talk about is ISKCON or this or that and all those things. So somehow those things have been completely, sidelined, and some importance to some kind of social identity has been brought in as the most important thing. Somehow that has manifested. That happens where some fresh thing is not manifested, and things continue from a societal point of view. And Sridhar Maharaj also told, when form is given too much of importance, then due course of time that leads to misrepresentation. Absolutely.
Hmm. Maharaj, I was just wondering if maybe you could say something on one of the things that I was hearing, like that one of the things that was going around, and that one of the, there's some of them are saying that, you're using Acharya Maharaj's devotees for your own mission. This is what one of the things they're saying about, like, and this where you're talking about this idea of identity and holding on to one thing. How can you explain that to them about that it's not that.
Yeah, actually, what I feel that whether it is Acharya Maharaj or Govinda Maharaj or Prabhupada or Sridhar Maharaj, they are all not separate from the central,
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
That is actually the center.
Yeah.
They are all meant to serve the center. When we are saying that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Siddheda Gada Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda, we are telling about devotees. And that all the devotees, they have a important contribution to make as far as absolute is concerned and his desire is concerned. And this mission, whole entire mission is planned by Mahaprabhu. And that mission needs various kinds of service, not one type of service, various kinds of service. And how can we say that Advaita Acharya is using Nityananda Prabhu's followers, or Nityananda Prabhu is using Sivas Thakur followers? Where that type of attitude is coming? Is all devotees supposed to serve the same principle of the requirement of the absolute? Why that type of mood is manifesting? So that I don't. This is the attitude that is creating. Vaikuntha means that when all devotees they cooperate with each other for the common interest. That is Vaikuntha. And material world means so many interests, separate interests conflicting with each other. So this is the difference I feel. I mean, misunderstanding that devotees have.
Mm. Mm.
Maharaj, actually, Shakespeare, he wrote in one of the plays that to thine own self be true, then thou canst not be false to any man. That means if one wants to be true to himself, then automatically it means he cannot be false to others. Now, as far as Chaitanya Saraswat Math is concerned, it's like a many different devotees are existing here from different acharyas, and that mainly happened because of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and it continues up to Srila Govinda Maharaj's time. And when we also came because of you, we were in Sripad Maharaj's things, and then we came here because he wanted to serve you. Maybe in Acharya Maharaj's time did not happen like that, but at least up to Govind Maharaj it has happened. And I think in Srila Govind Maharaj's time also, so many other devotees also came from other mutts, because they found some place there as pujari, or or some other capacity, and Srila Govind Maharaj accepted them. So the principle of Chaitanya Saraswat Math is like an accommodating principle. So, like I mean, for example, when you accept somebody, then that person also has some relation to his, whom he loves, like his spiritual master or whatever. That love cannot be denied. And sometimes it is a very kind of intense work is there, and a lot of instructions are there, and a lot of which the devotee cannot forget. But what happens is that when you think that you are very true to your acharya in a particular organization, and then you must by force like give instruction to others, but then that is not being true to oneself. It is because you are becoming as if you're denying the truth of others. That is not being truthful. So if these things are understood in a more philosophical sense with examples, I think people will begin to people want to hear good things. People want to understand things in a more rational way. So I think in due course we have to give some time also from our side. Something can come.
And again, we may not try to defend ourselves, but if another devotee is being offended and we can do something to alleviate that, and that is our duty. Huh? Our duty
Yes.
also.
Everything is a dialectical movement. It has different sides. So a jiva like us, he cannot take a positive what to say stand on what he thinks to be true. He has to. There must be a due consideration. And I told in a meeting Maharaj, what I heard from you, that that devotee will win all these things when he does not make any offenses. When we make offenses, we are lost. But when we do no offenses, then definitely we will win. But anyhow, I mean, what happened was that all the Bengali devotees, they came to a conclusion that since Nirya Maharaj is very good in this, management of the certain mutts in Bengal, he can look after that. And since Shanta Maharaj is a leading personality as far as preaching is concerned, so that acharyaship should be given to him. They came to that conclusion.
I could not understand, Maharaj, what you were saying. Can you say it again?
Yeah, I'm saying that Maharaj, when the Bengali people met in the for discussion that what should we do to manage the things, so then they said that since Nirya Maharaj is handling all the mutts and finances and other things, he can look after that. So he can do the mutt management and things like that. And since Shanta Maharaj is a leading personality as far as preaching is concerned, the preaching department should be given to Shanta Maharaj. That the Bengali devotees said like this.
Uh,
And that is also true because Srila Acharya Maharaj also told to Niriya Maharaj that you must help Acharya Santa Maharaj in his preaching. And he also told that you must, to Acharya, to Santa Maharaj, he told, you should train Niriya Maharaj. But now he is not, he is telling only that if we don't give respect to Western devotees, we will not get any money. So the whole thing becoming, like different, like moments of the truth. So all these things are true in their fixed, identities, definitely. But when we take a more holistic and more, what to say, negative, the second moment that you say in Hegel's philosophy, then we may have a better understanding of things.
anyhow, we all have to be sure we are giving proper respect to others also.
Mhm.
To give respect, proper respect to Nidhi Maharaj, whatever his ability to speak or whatever, that must also be there. And not only that he's a manager, I'm sure he can say something. And not
Yeah,
only,
yes, I
huh?
see some good qualities in him.
Yeah,
Like,
so that
like he
not
can,
only, not that we should take some compartmentalized view of
yeah,
things. Huh? I think Shanta Maharaj can also respectfully hear what Niri Maharaj has to say. That's not wrong. But Niri Maharaj also should have the proper respect for Shanta Maharaj. That's all. I feel that is the only thing missing. There must be mutual respect there, I mean love. That would make everything okay. I think that is the main difficulty. Oh,
Maharaj, I am thinking the situation is very good and testing situation for everyone, and it is the test of the faith, and the what everybody is looking for, and everything that is this situation is testing. So I am always praying, Maharaj, so that uh, I should go towards proper direction. That is the only thing I'm doing all these days.
huh?
Shant Maharaj said that everything going on right now is good, testing everyone's faith, what they desire from spiritual life, and he's praying that he goes only in the right direction.
Okay. Nice. Maharaj are very good. Proper direction.
But by your blessings, Maharaj, we have experienced so many such difficulties, and your guidance always what you can say, take us to the
Uh,
like
I'm only
sure, Maharaj, sure.
I'm only looking at Mahaprabhu's instruction. Humility, tolerance, and respect. That Govinda Maharaj always taught. These three things, if we're practicing that, I like Govinda Maharaj, he told, my religion is humility, honor, humility, tolerance, and respect. That is my religion.
So finding fault within myself, Maharaj.
Oh, finding fault, something like that. So nice. We can spend our life finding fault in ourselves. We'll make some spiritual progress.
And these are all things that Srila Acharya Dev said very explicitly. He emphasized so many times, I don't want to be guru, to be disciple. However, if I was given this service from Gurudev, then I must do it really He's always emphasizing only disciple, so many times. He's also saying in a recent writing, page, the title is, or how weeks ago, French, he's saying, I'm not
Voice is
Not hearing
not clear,
properly.
Maharaj.
Not hearing
Not clear,
properly.
Maharaj. Not clear.
Clear, yeah, hear properly.
He has to speak from other phone or something, Maharaj. Not clear.
He agrees. He agrees with us all. That's the main thing. And not opposed. All right. Now, 2:30, huh? Do you want to have a kirtan? I don't know. You like to have a kirtan? Is it too much to ask him in all these serious things?
Maharaj, this is also kirtan, and that is also what we do also kirtan, Maharaj.
Hey, I ask Rasaraj Prabhu, would you like to lead the kirtan?
Well, I can make some noise.
Make some noise, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, we're not hearing any noise coming from you. So now we can hear your noise also.
no. And before we start, I was reading the Sri Vaishnava Toshani from 1993, and there's an article Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Maharaj that was talking about something that was just happening now. It's very interesting. It's a little long to read.
Where did you get that?
From Sri Vaishnava Toshani from 1993. He said the environment is your friend. You know the publication from California.
Oh, okay.
From 1993, and they have an article of Srila Guru Maharaj, and it's talking about that kind of situation when the Guru left, what's happened, no? And it's very interesting. It's entitled "The Environment is Your Friend."
Yes.
So I sent a copy of that to Kusum Diri. Yeah, it make a photo of this. It's like 3 pages, no? And I sent it to her. But it's interesting because it's practically explaining what happened when the Guru is disappeared, what happened with the disciples, and they said that actually we have to expect some disturbances. So that's what it's saying in the article. It's very interesting. Okay, we can start. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Jaya
Jaya
Shri
Shri
Krishna
Krishna Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Prabhu
Prabhu
Nityananda
Nityananda
Shri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Gadadhar
Gadadhar Srivasadi
Srivasadi
Gaur
Gaur Bhakta
Bhakta
Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
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 Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare,
Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Rama
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 Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Hare
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 Hare.
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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura
Jai
Jai
Hari
Gaura
Gaura
Hari
Hare
Bol
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol
Hari
Hari Bol
Hari
Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Nitai
Nitai
Gaura
Gaur
Gaur
Hare
Hari
Hari
Bol,
Bol
Hari
Hari Bol
Hari
Hari Bol
Hari
Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev.
Jai
Jai
Jaya
Jai
Jaya
Guru
Gurudev,
Dev
Guru
Guru
Gurudev,
Dev
Dev,
Guru
Gurudev,
Dev Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Shri Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya
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 Gurudev.
Gurudev,
Gurudev.
Gurudev,
Gurudev.
Gurudev, Gurudev.
Gurudev.
Gaura Premanande Hari Hari.
Hari Hari
Hari
Jai
Bol.
Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Acharya Dev ki Jai. Jai
Jai
Giri
Jai,
Govardhana ki Jai.
Jai.
Jai,
Jai
Jai
Jai,
Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki Jai.
Jai,
Jai
Jai.
Jai.
Jai
Jai,
Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. Jai.
Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Jai, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Jai,
All glories to the worldwide devotees. Go
Jai,
Premanandi, Hari Hari.
Hari
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 Jai.
Bol.
Jai
Hari Hari Hari
Vishnupad
Bol.
परिव्राज Guru Srila Bhakti Puri Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai. Jai.
Jai Santa
Jai,
Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, Vasraj Prabhu, Gopal. What's that? Gopal Krishna? No. What is your name?
Brajagopal
Rajagopal
Brajagopal
Prabhu. Rajagopal Prabhu. Krishna. Kana Priya Didi ki Jai. Uma Devi ki Jai. Krishna Kesava Prabhu ki Jai.
Jai,
Jadu
Jai.
Krishna Maharaj Jadu
I
Gopal
did
Jadu
mention, I mentioned, no. Jadu Krishna, did I say Jadu Krishna? I meant Jadu Gopal. Oh. Ki Jai. What is that? Juan Martins
Brajagopal
Braj.
Gonzalez. The name is showing. Okay.
Where is Jada Krishna? Where are you
Huh?
based? Jada Krishna is where? Which country?
In Brazil? I think he's in Brazil.
Sorry, I'm
Yes.
Yes.
yes from Brazil.
Oh, then they were.
How are the devotees there, Prabhu? Are they good from the
Yes,
coronavirus? Safe from
thankfully
coronavirus?
thankfully Maharaj, everybody's fine, making seva, taking care of the dates, everything fine here.
I see. Who is there? What sannyasi? Any sannyasi is there?
No, we are in 5 devotees here. There is Nanda Sutta Prabhu, Srimati Devidasi, Nalini Devidasi, Shamagori Devidasi, and me. We are all devotees of Govinda Maharaj.
Oh, okay. Anyone come there to preach to you from Janardhan or Ashram?
No, actually, we are a little bit isolated here in Brazil because when Sripad Trivikram Maharaj went as Acharya, we prefer to keep our connection with Acharya Maharaj. So got some distanciation between us, and unfortunately, the devotees from Brazil put us aside
Okay.
by this reason. Just by this, unfortunately, no.
Then what do? Do you go out and preach to the public, or you have to be restricted?
We make seva here inside the temple. We live in how can I say, a farm, a small farm. So we have lots of seva here.
Okay.
And we give classes of Bhagavad Gita, Vedic literature, and other things.
Very nice. And you are connected with the other temples? Any other temples in that area?
In our area, unfortunately, all temples in Brazil are following Trivikram Maharaj and no one Acharya Maharaj, so we got little connection. But we have more connection with Gopinatha Gaudiya Math devotees here from Brazil.
Oh, yes?
Yes, we have some connection with them, and also some connection with some old devotees of ISKCON. And
Okay.
yes.
Very nice. It's important to have some association from outside devotees. Is also very nice. Prabhu, I wish everyone there that they stay healthy.
Yes, thank you.
Healthy and faithful and wise.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for listening to our chatter. Then, all right. Anything else anyone wants to say? Maharaj, how is everything now? You think you know what the next step is? What to do?
Maharaj, actually here devotees they are saying that whatever they have decided, this Bengal all devotees they are saying that we should try to implement it. That is what is necessary for the good of the mission. So they want the society should be registered, whatever members we can add, or or is something we have to change, because they need something more active people wants to include. So then like many grostas are also there in the present list, saying that it can be more like other peoples can be also included or reduced, so that can be planned. But there should be a proper trust of society, and also they are looking for managerial implementation, how it can be worked out. And some peace should be also established. They are saying that if you keep on fighting and court cases and things like that, and that will just waste of money and energy and like that. So they are asking how we should proceed, because these things like court cases will not solve in India. It keep on continuing like that. And
Okay.
every other day you have to go and stand in the court. There's so many brahmachari sannyasis in the court like that. That does not look as far as image of mutt is concerned.
Mm.
So they are saying that we should find a solution for this. And if we can see everybody can happily serve, respecting each other, that will be the best. That's what they are saying,
Okay.
organization.
Anyhow, if I can be of any service, Maharaj, you know that you can call me. Any devotees, would like to hear from what I'd have to say.
Okay,
If I can help them in some way, then
okay,
I'm willing to do that. Okay.
okay, Maharaj.
I don't know who would listen to me, but anyhow, I'm ready to talk. Okay.
Okay, Maharaj. I will tell Maharaj. And I'm sure some of them would like to hear from you, Maharaj.
Of
They
course.
would. Oh,
Yeah, yes, because many of them are Bengalis, Maharaj. So some translation
yes.
is necessary.
All
But
right.
some are English. I know they understand. So it is possible, Maharaj.
Shanta Maharaj, just one small question. And
Yes.
what was the position that Paramahansa Maharaj is taking about all of this?
Well, I'm not sure, the in detail, but what the devotees in Bengal are saying, that Acharya Maharaj tried many times to have a, what you can say, peaceful relation, with them. And if somehow that peace can be established instead of any kind of like strong feeling with each other, and conflict and good things, so that will be good. All are saying that I don't know how that can happen and things like that. That the details are not yet worked out. But devotee suggestion is that we have to find out some solution. So we are trying, to think about that, how we can do. But at the meantime, if we ourselves, having so much disharmony in our house, then that will be, makes more problem for other things. Especially in Bengal, there is not a problem, but now there's all social media and this, that, so many rumors and this and that going on, those things, if somehow can be first settled, properly explained, you know, because they are
Yeah.
not just making some noise from staying outside and not staying here, actually. If they come here and they will understand what is the situation here, you
Yes,
know.
yes, yes.
So, so that's I'm feeling that something good will happen by God's grace, if we all are willing to cooperate with each other instead of fighting with each other. I Srila Maharaj also told religion means proper adjustment. So like that adjustment, some adjustment, we have to give some, what you can say, respect for others, and that type of thing is given. Then that thing, I was hearing one story in Bhagavatam. One crow, behind that crow, so many crows and birds are running, so much running, and the crow becomes so much restless. And then crow understood why they're running behind that crow. Then crow was holding one piece of meat in the mouth, and all birds are behind that crow actually. So then that crow is thrown away that meat. Then he crow become very peaceful actually. So the peace can only be established if people wants to give up the things that they want to hold, and that way the things can be done. Otherwise, people run behind and disturb us actually so much. So somehow we have to think how that can be done. Everybody is given some due respect. Then the harmony and peace, everything can be established.
Yes.
Brother Gopal, Prabhu, is your family safe?
Yes,
Everyone
Maharaj.
well there?
Yes, Maharaj. In Bangalore, everyone is safe, but here some children are also getting affected recently, and the cases are increasing here.
Really, no vaccine there?
Yeah, here the vaccine due to some governments so vaccine is not available to all the public here. The problem is with 18 to 45 years age, but they are giving now to 45 above.
I see.
Yes.
Very difficult in the situation in India now.
Yes, Maharaj.
But in Navadip, they are telling, they have vaccine. And I
Oh,
ask in the temple all the servitors, there is vaccine available. Please, do you want to take? No, 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 we don't want to take vaccine.
Maharaj, you take and show them
Okay,
the right
Maharaj.
thing. Okay, it's the right thing. You take.
Okay, Maharaj.
So then, I mean, here in the U.S., everything has decreased because of the vaccine. So it does work. Maybe some people get a bad reaction, but generally speaking, it does work. We can see the evidence by how many people have, how the number of people have decreased very much. Now, even in a few days here in New Jersey, they're going to remove all restrictions. Now it's possible to remove the restrictions. So it definitely does help the population in general. So you please help them to understand that. Don't give this conspiracy theories.
No, but I'm asking them to take. I'm asking Muni Maharaj, everybody to take.
Yes.
No, I don't want to take. They are all saying that we don't want to take. I'm asking them, please take this, because one good friend I made here in when I came here, and he is like a administrator for the health, some like a local body member. Then he is very good with me when I came, and last year also he helped me arranging some bus and like that for Puri Parikrama. He said, Maharaj, I have this thing, vaccine I can make. And I immediately came because I remember you told that everybody should vaccinate. And I asked everybody. Everybody told no, we don't want to take vaccine. They are saying. So all the Didis here and Vishnu Maharaj and Muni Maharaj, they all say no, no, we are not going to take the vaccine.
Oma Devi, do you have the vaccine?
Yes, Maharaj. Two vaccines.
You took, huh? You said yes?
Yeah, both.
And Kanapriya? Yes. So Krishna Keshava, Rasa also have
Yes,
taken.
me too. Koshan also had the vaccine.
Do they have it in Brazil, the vaccine?
They made a plan in Brazil that first the elderly people would receive vaccination.
Yeah.
So to my age of I don't know how to say in English. My age people, just 2022.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's important. I know Janardhan Mars told that he only allows the vaccinated people to come to the temple. And those who have it available, they've taken that. No, don't be afraid. My humble Dandava pranams to all of you.
Joy, Bhakti Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Keep in touch. Please keep in touch so we know what's going on. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Maharaj, my WhatsApp is some problem is happening. I'll try to repair my phone. Is getting some problem. but I will try to communicate through Skype until my phone is ready.
You
So
contact the Krishna Kesava if you can't get me, then
okay.
he can let me know.
And also I'm telling to all devotees that I may not be on WhatsApp for 1 or 2 days.
Okay. Evil.
Dandavad.
My Dandavats too.
Dandavad to all
Dandavats
devotees.
Maharaj.
Dandavats
Dandavats to all.
And my Dandavats to Vishnu Maharaj also.
I will convey this.